together. So how do we name this compound? Now, if you are watching for the first time, this video is very important for you, more especially for beginners in high school. Now, you say, what is the IUPAC name of the following compound? IUPAC means is an acronym. I stands for International Union of Pure and Applied Chemistry. International Union of Pure and Applied Chemistry. Now, I want to name this compound. If you see a compound like this, identify the various elements. Okay. Now, what are the various elements that make this number one? This number one, you have the element are what? Sodium. We have sodium, we have carbon, and we have what? Oxygen. Now, we have three elements here. This element, you don't, for the first one, sodium here is 2, yeah, oxygen here is what? 3, and you combine them together. So in this one now, what you need to do is you have 1, 2, and 3. You have to name this one first. After naming this one, you go to this one. After naming this one, you go, the final name will come from this number 3. If you have, what if you have 4 elements? Let's just say, okay, let me just treat this one of 3 elements so that you can use that sample and answer the following question. Now we have this one here. For this one is sodium, all right? For this one is carbon, and this one is oxygen. Oxygen has how many atoms? We have what? 3 atoms of what? Oxygen. Okay, so for this one that you are calling the second, you must identify the number of oxygen atoms that are there. So 1, if oxygen is 1, you call it what? Mono. If oxygen is 2, you call it what? You call it di. If oxygen is 8, you call it octa. Oxygen is 9, you call it what? Nona. Okay, if oxygen is 10, you call it what? Deca, and so on and so forth. Okay, now in this case here, oxygen is what? 3. So we are going to name this one. So here is what? Sodium. You don't say sodium oxygen. No, you say sodium. The oxygen here is 3. So we are naming this one first, second by this one, and third by this one. Do you get that? So we have sodium. Oxygen, I told you that when oxygen is 3, you call it what? Tri. So we call it tri. Also, when oxygen is combined with other elements, you don't call it oxygen. You call it what? Ozo. Do you get that? So we have sodium trioxo. This one is what? Carbon. When carbon is joined with other elements, you don't call it what? Carbon. So we call it what? Carbonate. Okay. So this compound is called sodium trioxo carbonate. Sodium trioxo. Tri because oxygen is 3. We have 3 atoms of what? Oxygen. So sodium trioxo what? Carbon. You summarize with this one. Do you get that? If there are 4 elements, for instance, we have Na2H. Okay, let's just say NaHCO3. You call this one first, second by this one, third by this one, and you summarize it by this one. So this one would have been what? Sodium hydrogen trioxo carbonate. Sodium hydrogen trioxo carbonate. But we are not after this one. So this one is just 3. So we name this one first, second by this one, and third by this one. So the name of this one is what? Sodium trioxo. Tri because oxygen is what? 3. Trioxo carbonate. Having looked at this one, let's go to the second one. The second one is what? K here is potassium. Potassium, of course, you know that potassium is derived from a Latin word called vocalium. That is why it is the symbol is K. So we have K here is what? We have potassium here is what? K, and here is what? Chromium. Okay, and here is what? Oxygen. So we have C, R, and what? O. Okay, so now you are not taking into consideration of the atoms that are here. What your intention is or what you are after of is the number of oxygen atoms. Okay, this one you don't take note of them. Okay, it is when you are calculating the oxidation number that you take note of them. So this one now is potassium first, oxygen. I told you that if there are 3 elements attached together, you have 1 here, 2 here. You summarize with this one. Is that understood? So we have potassium. How many atoms of oxygen are here? We have oxygen has what? 7 atoms of what? Oxygen. So we have potassium. 7 is what? Hepta. You get that? Potassium heptaozo. Hepta is the 7 atoms of what? Oxygen. And the oxygen is what? Don't call it oxygen, you call it what? Ozo. So potassium heptaozochromate, potassium heptaozochromate, potassium heptaozochromate, potassium heptaozochromate. Now you are going to do this one and do this one and put it on the comment section.